Great. Thank you very much.
I can't see everything else.
All right. And looks like the way we set it up today, I'm not able to advance the slides. So I'll ask you to advance those for us, Maggie.
Hold on one
All
second.
right.
Let me make sure I got the recording. I'm sorry. I'm trying to share it.
Well, everyone, while Maggie is setting it up, I'm going to start off and talk through our reminders for our town hall meetings. So first thing, welcome everyone to our September town hall for the City of Falls Church. If you haven't already muted your mic, we'd love for you to do that now. We want you to engage in this. So on our agenda today, we've got quite the agenda, and all the presenters have been asked, save our city manager Wyatt, to stick to about 2 minutes for a presentation. That allows us enough time for a Q&A during each of these presentations. If you do have anything, there's a couple ways to get our attention to get a question in. One is you can put it in the chat. I'll be monitoring that throughout. Second one is just go ahead, raise your hand and unmute and share that with us verbally. Third way is you can send in it via email to our town hall email box to be able to do that. And then for everybody on here, I will be watching the clock today to be mindful of time so we can keep going. Our agenda today is much longer than August, but I think we have some great updates from different folks from throughout the city. We're going to let this rest here for a second before we turn it over to our city manager. All right. Thank you very much. Advance slide, Maggie.
Thank you, Mary Catherine. And so we'll start things off with a warm welcome to our new employees and welcome them to turn on their cameras if they're on this town hall meeting, just to say hello. But Robert Callahan is joining us as a policy analyst to help with our reaccreditation process in the police department. Welcome, Robert. Catherine Stricker is an intern in the treasurer's office. It's great to have her on board. Darius Michaelem, residential counselor at Aurora House. Very good to have you on board. And Bobby Brown is a residential counselor also at the Aurora House. And Yasmin Reichenekar is a planning intern with CPEDS. And it's great to have Yasmin joining the team as well. So everybody, big warm welcome, a Big Falls Church welcome to our new employees here joining the city in September.
Great, thank you. Next slide, please, Maggie.
So I wanted to share with the workforce a couple of things, and I'm going to save the thing that's listed first for last, talking about some of the organizational development priorities. But let me first mention the city has been awarded one of their innovation awards by the Virginia Municipal League. And I want to congratulate our CPEDS team and Emily Bazemore and the city's recognition for the outstanding community outreach and communications plan we had for the East End area plan. And this was a really great initiative that Emily led with great participation by many in CPEDS, including Zoe and Cameron and Carrie, among others, who helped Emily on this project to reach out and engage deeply with the Viet Collective and other members of the Vietnamese community at the Eden Center to envision what the future might bring for the Eden Center in a way really to preserve and protect the the cultural heritage that we celebrate at the Eden Center. And so congratulations to Emily and the whole CPEDS team on this VML Innovation Award. The VML conference is coming up the weekend of October 13th, and we'll be recognized in front of all of our colleagues across the Commonwealth of Virginia with this award. I also want to share congratulations with Sarah Swinton. Visit Falls Church is launched. We had a soft launch about a month ago, and we had our formal launch at the Falls Church Festival this weekend. And it is a tourism oriented website to celebrate all the things that visitors can do in the City of Falls Church. It was done in conjunction with the Virginia Department of Tourism, and it was funded with some ARPA funds. So a great initiative, and big congratulations to the Economic Development Office and to Sarah and in particular. And our OCOM team were very much strong supporters of Sarah and her work on this as well. I want to just note for everyone, we have harassment training, harassment prevention training, and this is mandatory for the entire workforce. So look out for the emails from HR on how you can go into NeoGov and participate in this mandatory training. We still have about 100 employees that need to complete that training, and we're past our deadline. So please do pay attention to that, and let's get 100% of our employees having had that refresh on how to prevent harassment in the workforce. It's one of those foundational issues for our workforce to make sure we have a safe and productive workplace. So look out for that, and let's hit our deadline well in advance of October 1st. I want to provide a reminder for employees. This is a very busy time at City Hall. We have personal property taxes that are coming in. People are paying in person. And on Friday, we'll start in-person voting for the upcoming national election. And so we want to emphasize the need to keep the parking spaces in front of City Hall open so that they are available for visitors. And that is true year round, but it's particularly true right now. Please park in the rear of the building. And in addition, our Economic Development Office is working with nearby businesses to open up parking at those locations. As one example, and we'll get more word out on this, the Christian Science Reading Room has parking in the rear of their business, and they are voluntarily allowing employees to park in that behind the Christian Science Reading Room. That's an example of another option that employees have. We recognize that we're a parking constrained environment, and so just ask that people do try to look out for our visitors so that they can get their business done, get their votes cast, and get their taxes paid as easily as possible. So now back to the first item on the list. We had a meeting of department directors last week where we reviewed a lot of the input from staff about organizational initiatives that we need to take on as an organization. This came out and is linked to the City Council adopted the 26 strategic priorities that the City Council adopted. As we were developing that body of work and top priorities for the City Council, we also identified what are some of the internal things that we need to focus on to advance our organization. Again, sort of foundational work to help all employees be more successful in our work together. We arrived at a list of 8 top priorities for internal process improvements that we'll be working on. This is an initial list. We'll do some additional refinement of this list to make sure, A, that we've laid out an achievable deadline to accomplish progress in each of these 8 areas. And also, we assigned a director as a champion for each of these. and we'll be communicating more about that. But I wanted the workforce just to be aware of what department directors identified as 8 areas of process improvement that would touch the entire organization. Those include updating our EERP, which colloquially known as our Munis software, so that it serves all of our functions as well as possible. That includes migrating to the cloud and implementing employee self-service, which we're well advanced on, but also ultimately implementing citizen self-service so that people can interact with their government online more efficiently and help us all get our work done. Number 2 is looking into and deploying a new citizen request system so that we can track citizen requests. We currently do so much of that by email, and we want to shift and migrate more and more of that to a system that will help us manage it more efficiently. We have one now. We're going to evaluate that and possibly make some upgrades to that system. Number 3, developing a space plan for the city workforce. We are a growing organization, City Hall in particular, but many of our places of work are very full. We have a plan for the Robert Goff Operations Yard and upgrading that in 2028. More immediately looking about office space needs for our workforce and making sure that we're planning ahead for that. Item 4 is improving our budget processes and our financial literacy about how we use Munis, so that we're all, that we have high levels of financial awareness about our organization and good financial management of all of our departments. Item 5 is working with the city clerk and all of our departments on record retention, making sure that we're complying with state law, but also digitizing more of that and making that process easier for our workforce. Item 6, develop and implement an action plan for the employee survey. That's an effort that is underway right now, developing some clear and actionable items that both get at root causes that were identified by employees in the survey, but also some tactical things that we can do to make improvements for our workforce. Item 7, updating all of our city administrative regulations. That's also an effort that's been underway for about a year, continuing that work and bringing that to a successful conclusion. And then item 8 is having a central point of information for employees, having kind of a hub where employees can access needed information, whether it's HR forms or finance forms, or administrative regulations, scheduling things. We're going to be talking about some good scheduling things that are coming up soon in this employee town hall meeting, but having all of that information where employees can access it easily. Right now, we rely a lot on the P drive, and we want to just make that system easier and more transparent for employees so they can access information easily. So those are the 8 that we identified. Again, we're going to refine this and develop some schedules and working with subject matter experts to advance this work. But I wanted the entire workforce to be aware of that conversation and that prioritization work that department directors are engaged in right now. So Mary Catherine, that's my report. I went over my 3 minutes, and I'll stop there and see if there are any questions.
Any questions from anyone? I do have one that has come in via email. The question is, do we need a parking pass to identify our vehicles as city employee vehicles when using the Christian Science parking lot?
So we're going to kind of work through the details of that. We do have an old parking pass, which I might ask anyone from HR if they want to speak to that. I know I personally have not been showing my parking pass in a car probably for a decade, and I could be behind the times. I don't know if anybody wants to speak up on that or whether we need to just hold that for a future item to discuss.
Wyatt, this is Megan in HR.
Yeah, Megan.
I can speak to that very briefly. We do, back in our 400 North Washington days,
Mm.
we were required to put something in our cars for identifying them as employee vehicles. So we have an old template that we could use and start implementing. It wouldn't be too challenging to make them. It's just an extra thing that we would need to make time for. So let's talk through those details and we can make that happen.
Thank you, Megan. I think probably more immediately the Christian Science group has been very gracious and saying, you know, they don't think that would be a problem. So I think right now we won't worry about the pass. If they start to have a problem with too many people parking in their lot, then, you know, we'll just sort of deal with that as it comes up. But right now, I think we want to just create some space, particularly for election season and for personal property season, because we know that's going to be a really busy time at City Hall for our for visitors.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Wyatt. Does anyone else have any questions before we keep moving in our agenda? Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, Maggie, can you advance to the next slide? Thank you. Maggie and I have a brief update from OCOM to hit some messages that some of you may be aware of and others not as much. So the first thing is that this past week at the Falls Church Festival, there was a wonderful ceremony closing out the 75th anniversary. I'd love for everyone to give some love to all the employees that worked on this year and really shared that appreciation for all the work that went into not just the branding side of things, but all of the celebrations that took place throughout. As we close this out at the end of September, this does mean that we will be bringing down all of that branding content that was produced for the city. So you'll see that in physical spaces as well as digital as well. If you want to continue displaying your merchandise and things like that, those great commemoration, but we're not going to be doing it in the public spaces anymore. So you will see that coming down, and we wanted to give you just a reminder in case you said, well, why is it gone? The next one is Maggie and I will be rolling out a new standardized email signature. This will be a template block that will prioritize accessibility so that folks that are interacting with the city, whether they're using screen readers or other adaptive technologies, are able to read our email signatures. And that will be coming out very soon. And it's very simple, copy and paste up in Outlook. If anyone does want any instructions on that to accompany it, please just reach out and we'd be happy to help with that. The next one is Maggie and I made a change in the P drive. We used to have a style shop when you opened up the P drive and saw the folders. Style shop sounded a little different for some of us, me included. And so it's been rebranded to City Brand Resources. So it's moved from being in the bottom of the navigation part up to that top piece there. And any time you need a reminder, just reach out and we'll remind you where those are. I also wanted to give a reminder regarding deadlines. So in OCOM's, I came from Marketing Communications, Office of Communications, we have some things that happen weekly and some things that happen monthly. And for us to be able to meet those deadlines, a lot of collaboration with many of you. For some of you, this is completely impertinent and not necessary. But the first thing is every week on Wednesday, I send bullets to local media outlets regarding things that are going on in the city. These often overlap with what goes into the Falls Church Focus or social media, but that is how we are doing proactive outreach to try to make sure that the information that is being printed and publicized by different media outlets is accurate and comes from the city directly. This is due by 11 a.m. on Wednesdays so that we can make the Falls Church News Press print deadline. The next one is directly to Maggie, which is for the focus and for social media for the next week. Those of you that are already hitting this, great, thank you. Those who are not, please try to get on these deadlines so that we can get your news out into the city. The next one is the Chronicle. We need this content in 1 week before the first of the month. And then for town halls, I did not keep my rules this time and we were shuffling agenda right at the end. But going forward, 1 week before our meeting, we'll be closing out our PowerPoint and our agenda for the Chronicle. Before we move on to FCC TV, does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you. Maggie, please advance the, oh, Charlie's raising his hand.
Sorry, I was slow on the draw. Do you have a calendar or calendar reminders for these? Like, is there a way that we could all be pinged when the deadline's approaching?
I think we could set that up, Charlie. Currently, we send out emails to folks that are regular presenters or contributors in advance, reminding of deadlines. But if that does help, we can probably arrange that. Maggie and I'll look into that and let y'all know. Thank you for that, Charlie.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Maggie, next slide, please. FCCTV.
Hi, if you guys don't know me, my name is Michael Timpane, and I'm with Falls Church Community Television, or FCCTV. FCCTV is the city's public access, education, and government TV station. We broadcast things like the city and schools public meetings. We also provide training and access to our studio and equipment to members of the public who want to create their own TV show. And we're also part of the communications department here with the city. So we are available to help you guys create videos for any sort of project or event that you guys are working on that you want to promote. So we can do things like the, if you see at the bottom of the screen, we did the video with Herb Holmes on the property yard. And in the bottom right, you'll see a frame from our most recent video with Kurt Lawrence on the energy efficiency updates that they're doing at the Cherry Hill Farmhouse. So anything like that, or a training video or an explainer, or filming an event like the police night out that happened in August, we're available to help you out. So we have made some updates to our process on how you request videos and event coverage from us with our form, which is at the link you see on screen at fallschurchva.gov/FCCTV requests. This form, fully fillable. It has all of the questions and information that we at FCCTV want to know before we take on a project creating a video. When you fill out this form, you'll get an automated response with all of the answers that you entered into all the different fields. And then staff will get back to you and work with you on fully fleshing out the idea for the video. So we really want you as city staff to, when you're requesting a video, think about the overarching themes and city initiatives or projects that this particular video might relate to, so that we can do our best to work with OCOM in promoting this video aligned with all city goals. We'll obviously do all the labor on this video, the filming, editing, uploading it. The one thing we ask from you all is that you're the subject matter experts, and you need to help us with scripting and developing what you want to say in this video, because you obviously understand your projects much better than we do. So when requesting a video, we want you to request it at bare minimum 2 weeks in advance from when you want to film. And then it takes about 2 weeks-ish once we film to get everything edited and make any changes that you might have to that video. For example, the energy efficiency update video we filmed with Kurt at the farmhouse, we filmed at the end of August, and that video will be published sometime this week. We can, if you have a very, very simple project, potentially accommodate something shorter than that 2 week window, but we cannot guarantee that that project would be fulfilled based on the demand that we might have with other projects going on. So that's why we ask that you give that 2 week cushion for both filming and then editing, so that we can try to make everything work. And we film anywhere and everywhere throughout the city if you want. You see the property yard, the farmhouse, We filmed in multiple local businesses throughout the city for a promo for the Little City gift card that happened in the last few years. And then obviously at our wonderful studio here at Meridian High School, you can see a couple photos of our different sets here on the screen as well. And shameless plug, but we also did a video on our studio here that we released a few months ago. So check that out if you haven't already. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was fantastic. Does anyone, oh, we do. We've got a question. Do you do voiceover videos? And is staff required to be on camera, or can someone from OCOM stand in for us? Oh, it's great questions.
Yes and yes to both questions. So we do voiceover only videos before. We did a video on the proposed updates to the T-Zones project that happened last year. We also did videos on the CIP that were fully just graphics on the screen with a voiceover. So if you are not comfortable being on screen talking about your project, you don't have to. And it honestly makes the videos more evergreen if you choose not to. Because if you leave the city a month after the video is produced, then all of a sudden it's really dated as to who is on screen and who is the face of this project. So doing voiceover would alleviate some of that.
Yeah, those were great questions. Thank you. And thank you for those answers, Michael. Anyone else before we move on to our next section? Okay, great. Maggie, if you can advance the slide. Next, we have Scott Frieda. Scott?
Hi, everybody. Let me just put my camera on just for my segment. Hi, I'm sitting here in the Gage House coming to you today. My project is the Broad Street Hawk Signals, and that really is a project that's been going on for quite a few years now. It started back in 2018 when it was first scoped. It was originally supposed to be completed by March of 2023, but due to delays with right-of-way acquisitions, design changes, and of course the global pandemic, we saw a delay in the overall processing of the project. So we're scheduled to be completed by early or late winter of this coming winter. The construction is supposed to be completed by January of this coming year. So let me back up a little bit here and tell you exactly what this project entails. We're installing 3 high-intensity activated crosswalk beacon traffic signals. And for those of you, that's a mouthful, but we actually just call it the Broad Street Hawk pedestrian signals for short. I think Wyatt's very well versed on this project. He's been on many of my project updates with higher staff here in the city. But I'm going to give you a really brief presentation on this. We're installing 3 of these signals at along Broad Street. One is going to be at the Oak Street crossing, one is going to be at the Fairfax Street crossing, and also one at Buxton Street. And what they are, they're mid-block crossings in areas where we have high pedestrian traffic, where we don't have a good crosswalk within, several, there's a standard, footage for between blocks. And so areas where we see a lot of pedestrians crossing at mid-block, where these are potential traffic areas and where it's very unsafe. So we're putting these mid-block. The crossing at Oak Street, actually, if you've been out there lately, you've seen a nice, beautiful brick crosswalk already installed. We've got that part of the project already completed. The other 2 locations on the east side of Washington are going to be standard striped crosswalks. But what's going to be different about these 3 than just a standard pedestrian type of crosswalk is you're going to see overhead lighting that is going to be stopping the traffic along Broad Street. And it's like just like I said, it's high intensity. It'll be strobe like. It'll be very in your face. Once a pedestrian activates the crosswalk at any of the 3 locations in order for them to cross, the strobes will activate and traffic will be stopped along Broad Street. And drivers are instructed to stay stopped until the person clears the crosswalk or the actual strobe stopped flashing. So VHB was our design consultant for this. They worked with us very intensely on getting the design to the city standards and to working with VDOT. Our contractor is currently working on the project right now is Ardent Company. They're actually working on things today. We've incurred several delays like typical projects do along the way. Things like right-of-way acquisitions, working with the public and making sure that our residents are happy because some of these locations along the east side of Broad Street are right next to residential areas. So we're trying to keep everybody clued in on what's exactly happening on the project and trying to make less impact on their personal properties. Right now we're making plans to do hookups with Dominion. So we're working on it as we stand. Our budget is about $1.2 million. It's probably going to go up to about 1.3 by the time we're all finished. And we've luckily been able to procure all the funding we need to keep this project going and to get it completed. So again, the project should be finished this coming January, and hopefully it'll be a nice new safety measure for the city. That's all I've got.
Thank you so much, Scott. We appreciate you putting together the slide and presenting today. Does anyone have any questions for Scott? All right. Thank you very much. Oh, we have Chief Fard has a question. Chief.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for your project, a very important project. Just quick question. Does the project timeline include training for any PD staff so they understand the enforcement aspects of it?
That wasn't included. That's a really good question, and I hadn't thought about that actually. I will talk to my project supervisor when Ali Kavari once he returns, and I think that's a good idea because it is gonna be something that's gonna affect traffic out there, as well as potential risks involved, with people crossing and with how your officers work with that. So
okay,
good
thank you,
question. I
Scott.
don't have an answer
If you
for
need
you
to
right
coordinate
now.
anything, you can reach out to me.
Thank you very much. That's a great question.
Okay, thanks.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Chief Fard. All right. Moving along, next up, we have a great presentation background from Jenny Carroll and questions with Scarlett.
So yeah, I think the agenda says that I'm Scarlett. I'm not Scarlett. I'm Jenny. So you think you can bake? We have at our upcoming employee picnic the dessert contest, and it is named the Mary McMahon Dessert Contest. If you aren't familiar with Mary McMahon, she was the former library director and left in 2017, and she was legendary for her desserts. And I have it on good authority that she also might show this week with a dessert. I don't think she's entering it into the contest. So you'll get to see, yeah, Charlie is also one of our heavy users of the dessert contest and is also known for his desserts as well. So I know there's competition out there. So please let Scarlett know. And I think there's a QR code and there's also a sign up genius that's on the flyer that's on the slide where you can enter the contest. So we'd love to get some more people entered. And I'm not sure if we still need judges. Anybody on Fun Bunch, do we need judges?
So we are up to 4. If someone
Okay.
else is interested, then we'd love to have you, but it is not absolutely necessary, no.
Okay, great. So sounds like spots are filled. So love to get some more bakers, dessert makers involved. And it looks like somebody from Commissioner of Revenue might be a participant. So we'd love to have you.
Fantastic. Does anyone have any questions regarding the dessert contest or the upcoming picnic? No, okay. All right, Maggie, if we can go on to the next slide. And we've got Paul presenting today. Thank you, Paul.
All right, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Stoddard. I'm the planning director with the city. And so I'm talking about really two things on one slide. They go hand in hand. It's the Oak Park Townhomes project, which is now under demolition and then later construction, and how that grew out of a recent change in the city's development regulations called the zoning ordinance. And those were the T-zone changes. And the staff credit for both of these things go to people who aren't me. So Henry Zhang was our staff lead on the Oak Park Townhomes project, and Jack Trainer was our staff lead on the T-zone update. So left side of the screen, well, at least as I'm looking at it, is Oak Park Townhomes. And the construction fencing is up, demolition underway. This is taking place at the corner of Park Avenue and North Oak Street, so a block north of Broad Street. When the existing buildings come down, what's going to go up in their place is 12 new townhomes, and these are being constructed by Madison Homes. Madison Homes, for folks who don't know, it's a builder who is active in the area. They've been building townhouses in the region, including Falls Church, for many decades. And this is not the only project they're working on in Falls Church. They have an application in a block away at Park and Lee. And these projects are now possible in the city, right? Prior to last year in the T-zone update, you couldn't build these things. It was against the law to build these kinds of things in the city of Falls Church. So the T-zone changes were voted on by City Council in September of 23, and then the changes, the flexibility to build these kinds of homes went into effect in January of 24. And the motivation behind changing the city zoning laws are really to what's part of within the industry, it's called zoning reform. What's being recognized at the national level, the regional level, the local level, is that there is a shortage of housing that's available for people, whether they want to rent or buy. You can see it in the rising home prices, the short amount of time that homes stay on the market for purchase. And just the difficulty of finding and really competing for housing when prices are going ever up. And it's not the only reason, but it is a contributing factor that each municipality has rules about what kind of housing people can build. And over time, each municipality has tightened up those regulations. And when you look at the collective effect of that, it is very difficult to build housing now. So zoning reform, opening up the kinds of houses that can be built is one way to alleviate that pressure. And so now the city does allow for townhouse style development, small condo buildings, small apartment buildings to be constructed on these lots that are zone transitional. By way of background, how difficult it is to build townhouses in the city. Prior to this project, the last set of townhouses that got built were the Falls Crest townhouses, which are about 200 feet west of the library along Park Avenue, and those were built in 2002. So more than 20 years ago is the last time the city saw new townhouse development. The reason T-zones in particular was selected as an appropriate place for townhouses, that it's a zone that sits sort of behind the commercial districts, but usually in front of the single family districts. Townhouses are long recognized as a transitional form of development. And also T-zones were a zone that were difficult to develop. There's been regular investment in single family housing in the commercial areas, but T-zones were sort of stuck in the middle. So it was a district that was deserving of a review and a refresh. And of course, getting to these regulations was not an overnight thing. The talk about T-zones went on for well over a year and a half as the community and the council, boards and commissions discussed in great depth the shape, the size, the look, the function of how these T-zones could work. And so it's exciting to see out of that conversation, very quickly out of that conversation, these new projects coming around and getting constructed.
Thank you so much for that, Paul. I feel like I know a lot more. Does anyone have any questions for Paul? All right, let's keep moving. Maggie, next slide, please. Next up, we have Jenny Carroll back with us.
Hello again. We're going to get back on track. Social Equity Action Team, the SEAT, is calling for new members. So employees who would like to volunteer for this particular group. The group is comprised of city employees that are committed to social equity to affect institutional and structural change. They are an advisory team to city leadership. There are about 10 members, including an EAC rep. And our EAC rep moving forward will be Jeff Rubin. The meeting schedule is about once a month or every other month moving forward. We're still working on that timing, about 60 to 90 minutes, and it is an in-person meeting. Our next meeting will be Thursday, November 14th from 10 to 11:30. We're going to take a look at our charter and our mission again and look at group roles as well. So if you are interested, and I should have put this on the slide, I didn't. If you are interested in joining SEAT, please email me and I will put my email in the chat as well.
Great, thank you. I think questions can go to Jenny via email, but does anyone have any here that benefit the whole group? All right, let's move forward with the slides, Maggie. All right, now we have Cindy Mester. Cindy.
Good morning, everyone. Wanted to take advantage of the timing of the employee town hall with our recent retirement board meeting. And for those that are new and may not be aware, I have the honor of serving as the pension plan administrator and supporting our retirement board in partnership with Megan DeSalle and our HR team. The retirement board has city code fiduciary oversight to protect our pension plans as well as our deferred comp plans. And so it's a very important service that both city residents do, as well as 3 employees. And so I do want to thank Nate Dupree, Matt Parker, and Herb Holmes for volunteering to serve in this important role. The retirement board just did meet last Thursday, so we wanted to provide you the link to the meeting. There's a lot of good presentation information on our pension plan investments and our deferred comp participation. And also on the employee corner, we do have a nice summary of a much more detailed legal document on what are the benefits of both the basic and the police pension plan. Just a couple little facts under our pension plans, which are considered defined benefits because you get a commitment of your monthly annuity or amount in retirement. We have a lot of participants and $170 million of investment. And this is both the employer contribution and the employees. And we've had really positive returns over the last 12 months. Of course, right now with the economy and the Fed rate reduction may be happening, we are monitoring, but we are still well above the policy requirement of 6.5% return. And we've done a lot of talk recently on deferred compensation, also a lot of great participation, which has been increasing. And we know it's been increasing because of outreach and education, but also City Council's support of increasing the employer match from $20 to $35 per pay period. So wanted to take the opportunity to remind us of that. And that Antoinette, who is our Mission Square retirement specialist that comes monthly, will be doing that again and keeping the availability of one-on-one appointments. Also, you can do your own just virtual one. And so there's a great opportunity to continue to invest for your future retirement. It's never too early to start. And the retirement board is continuing to represent you and all of us, active and retirees. And with that, I'll pass it back to Mary Catherine because I know that Megan has some additional information.
Yes, absolutely. Megan DeSalle is going to close us out for our last presentation. Maggie, if you can advance one more slide. Thank you. Megan.
Thank you very much. Yes, I just want to give a quick plug to have everybody submit their statement of interest if you're interested in representing our employee population on one of 2 or both great employee groups. As Cindy was just talking about the retirement board is made up of 3 citizens of Falls Church, 3 employee representatives, 2 from the basic plan and 1 from the police plan, and then a city manager representative. And effective October 1st, we're going to have an opening for the basic plan representative. Charles Collier, who is a retiree of the basic plan, has submitted his resignation from his seat as a basic plan representative. He served for over 22 years. So he's going to get some recognition at our next retirement board meeting, but that opens up a seat, a great opportunity to be a fiduciary, learn a lot about finances and investments. You don't have to have any experience. You just have to have good intentions and take your fiduciary responsibility very seriously. So if you are interested in serving on the retirement board, please, please, please submit your statement of interest by this Friday, September 20th. I'll be sending out an email with a form that'll make it easy, 100 words or less, super simple. Submit that statement by this Friday. Also, at the same time, we're coordinating an election for the EAC, the Employee Advisory Council. And that group, I hope a lot of you have been on the meetings recently, great group of people. There are 3 seats that are coming up for election. And if you wanted to take one of those seats or compete for one of those seats, you can submit your statement of interest by October 1st. So you've got a little more time for that one. But the chair of the EAC is Charlie Hamilton. I'm running short on time, so I'm not going to go through everybody. But if you ever have any questions about what the EAC does, all of them are great resources, as am I. So feel free to reach out, and you'll be seeing that email coming from me as well. All right, I think I did it. Kept to
Great.
2
Thank you,
minutes.
Megan. Thank you, Cindy. And Charlie just put into the chat the EAC email address as well. Does anyone have any final questions regarding retirement board, or EAC? All right, I think we'll go to our last slide then. Any final questions from anyone regarding the content that was presented today? If not, I will just say a big thank you to everyone who presented today, for everyone who's participated in this meeting, and I will see you at the picnic on Thursday. And thanks to advance to the Fun Bunch, to our judges, and to everyone who's putting in a dessert. All right, thank you all very much. Thank you, Maggie. Bye-bye.